Ever felt overwhelmed trying to balance your personal tech needs with the demands of running a business? What if I told you there's a way to streamline both, saving you time, money, and headaches? In this video, we'll reveal how Microsoft's powerful tools like BitLocker, EFS encryption, and BranchCache can transform the way you manage your devices, whether for personal use or business growth. Stick around to discover how you can optimize your tech setup and secure your data like a pro. In this course, we're going to talk about business needs related to operating systems, but also the needs for the general public. And we start with personal needs. Why do people like you and me use a computer in general? The answer to this question will be very varied, as it will depend on one's own interests. Some people will use a computer, tablet, or smartphone for entertainment. For example, play game online, watch favorite shows, listen to music, etc. Other people will use them to communicate with the whole world. That is, to create friendships with people on the other side of the world. Moreover, in general, this type of person is very fascinated by social networks such as Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. It is also possible to use other means of communication, such as the Skype tool, which allows you to make phone calls via the internet. There is also another category of people who use a computer in order to improve your skills in a specific area, learn new topics, or to do simple research, to write an internship report or an end-of-studies project. And other people use it to remote work, whether for their employer or directly as a freelancer. As there are several profiles of people with different needs, this is why Microsoft has designed these operating systems in several editions. Like this, we have editions for the general public, for small businesses, and others for large organizations. So, in your opinion, how is the need of companies different from those of the general public? Well, the main difference is that a company needs a significant number: computers, servers, printers, and many other computer equipment, and all these devices must be able to communicate with each other to provide very specific services to the company's employees. However, an individual will only need from a single phone, of a single tablet, from a single computer, and a single printer if needed. A company will also have a different need in terms of security, because if confidential data is leaked, then it could cause the company a lot of damage, financially, but also in terms of reputation. Whereas for an individual, well, generally, it is not the highest priority target of cyber attacks. And the last thing that differentiates companies from individuals is for their resource-sharing needs between employees from different locations. In general, wide area network links, i.e. the WAN, allow employees of the same company to access shared resources to work. Well, these resources must be well optimized to avoid slowness between remote sites, which would cause a lack of productivity, special features. It is because of all these constraints that Microsoft has had to provide certain features specifically for businesses. Among these features, there are access to a domain, BitLocker, the EFS file system, and the BranchCache feature. And we're going to detail all of these tools right away. The first feature a company needs is the creation of an Active Directory domain. It is a database and a set of services which give users the network resources they need. The Active Directory contains a centralized database in a server called the domain controller. This is what is placed in the middle of the illustration. This database allows for centralized authentication of all user accounts of the company's employees. This also allows for completely centralized management of these user accounts. For example, it is possible to configure the same desktop background for all employees in the company by simply using what is called group policy, the domain. The Active Directory also provides great flexibility to employees, as they can connect to any company PC using their own accounts, and thus retrieve their documents and user profiles. Now let's move on to the BitLocker tool, whose main function is to encrypt the data on the computer's disk. This ensures the confidentiality of its contents in the event of theft or loss of the disk. Activation process. We will now see the steps to launch and activate BitLocker. First, start by opening the control panel, then click on System and Security, then that BitLocker drive encryption. You will then be able to activate BitLocker, or for the disk that contains the operating system, or for the data disk, and you can even, if you want, insert an external hard drive and encrypt it using BitLocker. Let's move on to the EFS file encryption file system, which is a system developed by Microsoft. EFS is a specially designed tool for encrypting files on a hard drive formatted in NTFS. So why would a company need to encrypt this data? Well, it's mainly to make sure that this own data is not disclosed to a competing company. Here are the advantages of this system. First of all, it is very simple and quick to set up. Then, the encrypted files are only visible to the user who encrypted them. And the last thing is that it is possible to recover encrypted files if you lose your password by using an administrator account. We will now see how to encrypt your data using the EFS encryption file system. If you're on an NTFS volume, here are the steps to enable EFS encryption. To get started, you need to right-click on the file you want to protect and click on Properties. Then, click on Advanced and check the box, Encrypt content to secure data. Confirm by pressing OK, and you will be offered to choose between either the encryption of the file or the complete file. For the example, I choose to encrypt only the file. After validating, you will be able to save the encryption certificate. Don't lose this file, as you will need it if you want to recover the file. You can recognize that a file has been encrypted using the small padlock, as in this example, PDF file. It is important to know that you can open the file without any problem, provided that you use the same user account on which you have encrypted the document. If you use another account, well, you won't be able to access the file. BranchCache optimization. Now let's move on to the BranchCache feature, which is very interesting, especially for large companies that spread over several cities. For example, we have 3 remote sites: Marseille, Paris, and Lyon. In your opinion, which of these cities lead the field? The Champions League? I'm joking, of course. You have to stay focused on the job of a support technician. Connectivity between these different sites is not done in a stadium, but rather by using what is called a wide area network link. That is, the wide area network WAN. But the problem that arises is especially when users want to share a large number of files between these different sites. Because, in this case, each user will have to download on his PC the resource he wants to access from the other site. This makes the process very long and, moreover, consumes unnecessary bandwidth. That's why Microsoft has implemented the BranchCache feature on these editions dedicated to businesses. This allows shared resources to be downloaded only once and cached immediately, so that it is available to other users. This gives the advantage of greatly improving access time and greatly optimizing resources in terms of bandwidth. Desktop styles and user interface. Before we end the course, we're going to talk about the GUI. On the business side, the Office style is standardized. That is, the user interface is common for all computers in the company. Remember what we saw at the beginning of the course? This common configuration is made using policy objects. At the domain level, That is to say, the Active Directory. This does not give employees many possibilities if they want to change the graphical interface of their PCs on which they are working. And on the home side, well, it's completely different, because here, no one will stop you from choosing the style of desktop and interface you prefer. Now, here are the steps to configure its user interface. And we start by launching the Start menu and typing Settings to access the operating system settings. Then, you have to go to Personalization, and you will have access to a small menu on your left, which allows you to customize its interface. The Background button allows you to change your desktop background settings. The Colors option allows you to access the settings related to the colors of the interface. The Lock Screen option allows you to customize the background of your screen when it is locked. The Themes allows you to change your theme. The Font to modify the writing style. The Start button is used to control the Start menu and other settings related to this type of application. And the Taskbar, which as its name suggests, is used to customize everything related to the taskbar.